Halloween is coming up in a matter of days now, but activists and some chocolatiers are hoping that you won't be handing out candy from big chocolate companies. They believe these companies aren't doing enough to stop child labor in the countries where they buy their cocoa from.
Most of these farmers in West Africa who are growing these cocoa beans are earning less than $1 a day.
Keller 10's Madison Heaver has more now on what these activists are saying, how the chocolate companies are responding, and also what a chocolate company here in the Ozarks suggests could be a possible solution. What'd you learn, Madison?
Yeah, David, major chocolate companies were given a grade on their sustainability and human rights efforts, just as you would get in school on an A through F scale. Some are saying the low grade some companies received isn't all that surprising.
We've been looking at the chocolate industry for about 10 years now and encouraging the large players to improve their conduct.
Todd Larson, executive co-director of Green America, breaks down how chocolate companies are scored.
And at the top are the companies that are doing the best things. These are small companies. They're dedicated to working in the cocoa sector in a way that produces a sustainable product and one that actually uplifts farmers and one that is not engaging in child labor. And then the companies at the bottom of the scorecard, including the ones that get like a D and an F, are the ones that are doing less.
One of those chocolate companies that received an F, Godiva. But there's a local chocolate company that says it's the complete opposite of those major chocolate companies with low grades.
We're the antithesis of that.
It's Askinosie Chocolate. Founder and CEO Sean Askinosie says while he doesn't work with any farmers in West Africa who employ children, he's known about the industry's lack of oversight on child labor for a while now.
Most of this problem, I would say 98% of this problem, is focused on two countries in West Africa, Ghana and Ivory Coast. And interestingly, both of those countries make up about 70% of the world's supply of cocoa beans for chocolate.
He says when you buy a cheaper chocolate bar, it's really paying West African cocoa bean farmers only $1 a day and goes toward funding child labor.
If you spent $1.50 on that bar thinking it's a value, it's really on the backs of child slave labor making and harvesting those cocoa beans that went into that cheap chocolate bar. So there's a price to pay for that.
Askinosie says to fix the issue, it's the company's responsibility, but to not rule out the role the consumer plays.
Because we gain more awareness, then we have a greater responsibility to make the right decision when it comes to cheap chocolate.
As consumers, we do have a role, however. We can push companies to actually do the right thing, and we can agree to pay a little bit more for our chocolate in order to help finance these efforts to support farmers in West Africa and ensure that kids aren't engaged in child labor.
Well, somebody's going to watch this and think, I wonder if the chocolate that I'm buying at the store is produced using slave labor or children. I think people will talk about it, and then the question is, will it inform their buying decisions? And I hope it does.
Godiva, the only chocolate company to receive an F on the scorecard, sent us this statement. Godiva condemns forced labor or any practice that exploits, endangers, or harms people, especially children. We do not own farms and purchase our cocoa through third parties, which puts us at a distinct disadvantage on scorecards such as these that don't allow for an accurate representation of our longstanding commitment to people and the planet. We ensure ethical sourcing through agreements with our suppliers to comply with our Godiva Code of Conduct, which explicitly prohibits the use of forced and child labor.